What's up, guys? Appreciate you stopping by the shop today. My name's Danny, and recently I made this awesome vase that I'm extremely proud of. However, when I went to hollow the vase out, I got extremely stressed. I didn't have a way to support it, so today we're gonna make something to take that stress away. Check it out. Cool. Well, looks like everything cut out. It doesn't look like everything quite went through. I may not have set my depth quite deep enough. Looks like there's some slight slight variations in the plywood thickness. I definitely see some of the blue tape poking through down on the bottom of some of these. So, all right. Question is, how easy is this going to come off? Oh yeah. Yeah. See, this is definitely going to be, yeah, I got some cleanup to do. Break out the palm router and trim some of these up. Or just take them over to the belt sander. Might be the easiest way. Yeah, I should have set my depth just a little bit deeper. So this is actually something that I designed in Sketchup. Sketchup is something I've used for quite some time. I know I haven't showed it in any of my videos so far, but I build furniture and tables and cabinets and all kinds of stuff just as a hobby. Usually for my wife, or for the shop. And so, let me get my trash can. because I'm very much a DIY person. I don't like to buy things if I don't have to. If I can make something like this or make a cabinet, then I would rather make a cabinet. So anyway, so I've used SketchUp for quite some time. I've learned a lot, just self-taught. Also learned quite a bit from Jay Bates' YouTube channel. I've followed him for a long time and watched, well, probably all of his videos multiple times. He's got a lot of really good tips and tricks on using SketchUp. If you wanna check out his channel, I'm sure he would love that. But yeah, so I designed this thing in SketchUp. Pulled a bunch of measurements from my lathe and just went crazy with design, and then ended up exporting it to VCarve, and here we are. I did mess up a couple times. I forgot to calibrate where the top of my surface was, so I forgot to set that. So I had to start that over again, and then once I ran the program, I realized that I didn't set my depth of cut. So I had to go back in and change up the files just a little bit, set my depth, just so that way it would cut to the proper depth. But obviously it missed by really the thickness of the veneer. That's really, actually, it's not even that thick. It's thinner than the veneer. So just missed on that. But so these are going to be, so the idea here is this is going to end up sliding in here. This is probably all going to take some fine tuning, if I had to imagine. Oh no, that actually slides on there really well. So that's going to slide on there. This should, in theory, lock in here, except I'm gonna have to notch some corners out. But that'll end up sliding down into here, the same depth, as that. So that way that sits there. I wanted to create a bit of a gusset here, just to take some of the. Boy, that's real snug. I like that. That should be really tight. Awesome. So that'll end up in there, and then these will end up, once they're all cleaned up, they're hideous now, but these will end up with a couple little knobs on here to be able to adjust these in and out, slide these back and forth. And then there's a hole that's going to end up here. I didn't want to put it in the file for the CNC because I'll end up manually drilling these because I don't have the exact hardware figured out yet on what I'm going to end up holding the little, what are they, nylon, or I can't remember if I think they're nylon. They're nylon or polyurethane casters that will end up mounting to this, and then they will end up centered inside here, and so that way I can adjust these in and out, and then my piece would slide in here, whatever it is that I'm turning, and then it'll just sit here and spin inside here, and then it will just catch on all three of these. 3 points of contact. We'll hold it stable. We'll stabilize it. It'll hold it steady. So then once I find center on whatever piece it is, it'll be inside there running around, just barely touching the three casters on here, and it'll stabilize it. At least that's the idea. It should work. I've seen it. They sell these pieces, these accessories for lathes, but like I said, I would rather just make one instead of buying it because I've got the capabilities of making my own. So I figured, you know what? I've already got some plywood. What's a couple of bucks for some casters? And I'm sure I've got plenty of hardware around here that I can utilize. So I figured, you know what? What's a little bit of time modeling and then cutting, and then just a few minutes assembling. So I think it should go together pretty smooth once I get these things cleaned up. Get some of these sharp corners rounded over. But yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to getting this thing cleaned up, assembled, and installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean these things up. I'm not gonna make you guys watch that. There's nothing fun about just cleaning up edges. So I'll get these things cleaned up, clean up the giant mess that I've got going on here. You know, that is one thing. If you haven't CNC before, if you haven't turned on a lathe before, those have to be like two of the messiest things on this planet. My goodness, you throw so much dust and debris and all of that when you do that. I really got to figure out some dust collection for this thing. I attempted to do a dust boot on it, but it doesn't quite work right, and so it's more hassle than it's worth. It's easier at this point just to clean up after the fact. But one of these days, I'll actually get around to trying to create a better dust collection system for it. But anyway, enough rambling. I'm going to get to it, get these things cleaned up, and start getting these things assembled. All right, I've got this stuff all cleaned up for the most part. I should probably need to do like a final sand and figure out what finish and everything I want to put on it. But everything fits together nicely. I've eased all my edges and corners and everything. So now all this fits together real nice. But yeah, this is the idea. So this will end up down here, just like that. These will end up on here, which I should probably get that hardware. So I don't seem to have the T-nuts that I wanted. I thought I had some, but apparently I used the last of them. But regardless, I'll get some more. This will just kind of be used as a placeholder. So what my idea is here is I'll have these guys, which I'm going to end up 3D printing some knobs that these will slide into. And then there will be some T-nuts installed on the back here. So that way I don't have to use any tools and I don't have to worry about things loosening up on their own over time. Oh, I got all kinds of mixed match bolts in here. Imagine that. Yeah, this is the basic idea here. So these will go on here. There's nothing really special about any of this. Really, you could make this without a CNC. You would just have to take your time, measure carefully. You know, you'd have to probably create your own circle jig if you don't have one. And then you just want to, probably want to set up stop blocks so that way you could, create your little tabs here for these things to lock into. But you could do this. Yeah, you could do this very easily. Well, I don't know about easily, but you could definitely do this without a CNC. The CNC just makes it a whole lot easier. Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. But then again, there's still some math that you have to figure out, because it's not like this just creates itself, You know, this didn't just appear in SketchUp. You know, I had to go through and calculate and take careful measurements and all of that in order to create the model, and then also create the cut files for it. So there is some knowledge or some skill involved with being able to do this. Now, I'm not saying I'm a skilled individual, by no means. You know, I've played around with this stuff enough to where I can fumble my way through it, so to speak. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of the general idea, is that you end up with this. There will end up being some additional, you know, 2 additional knobs that will end up down inside the CNC, or the CNC, down in the lathe. Oh, I forgot to punch this. Forgot to punch that all the way out. So this will end up down in the lathe, again with another knob here and here that I'll print out. And then there will be a small plate on the bottom where it fits in the track on the lathe bed. So that way, you know, when you tighten these knobs down, it tightens everything up and locks this thing in place. So that's the concept here. I did end up just picking up some cheap, these are rubber casters. They're a soft rubber caster. They're supposed to be non-marking casters, which is important because I don't want anything to mark up on my tools or on my the pieces that I'm doing. So these things were only a couple bucks a piece. So I couldn't find just the caster itself or the wheel itself. It came with the full assembly. So I'm just gonna drill out the rivets here and pull the pins. And then I bought some pins and or some threaded pins that I'll use to push through and lock these things in place. So these things will end up back here on this side, right, floating in the middle here. So there'll be one on each of these arms, and that way these things can adjust in and out as needed. And then these things will just ride in here, and then whatever piece is in here, it'll ride on. So, all right, I am going to drill these out, and get these wheels mounted on the arms here. So I'm going to take care of that, and then I'll bring you guys back when I'm done. Okay, so as I was going through this, I completely forgot that I needed to make a piece to run down the center, just so that way it stays centered up on the lathe bed. So what I did was I cut a piece out that's just a little bit thinner than the overall thickness of the lathe bed, if that makes sense. So that way, when I insert bolts through here, and there'll be a piece that'll capture on the bottom of the lathe bed, so that way it'll tighten everything up together. So just a little bit thinner than that, and then this fits just perfectly down the width. I got it close with a table saw, and then I just kind of fine-tuned it with a bit of sandpaper, just on a flat surface, just ran it across a few times, and then just kept test fitting in between the channel on the lathe bed, just until it got the perfect fit. So it runs in there nice and smooth, runs back and forth. There's no chatter back and forth, which is great. So I have made my little marks with my calipers, and then just darkened them with a pencil, just so that way I can get this thing centered up in here just right. So I'm going to get these put together with some CA glue and activator, just so that way get this thing moving. CA glue should be plenty strong. I mean, this thing is only there to keep it from wanting to move side to side. This isn't really being stressed at all, or shouldn't be. get a little this is tricky. My goodness. Cool. Nice. I managed to glue that in there, which is fine. All right, let me get these holes transferred over. $7 mil. Fits perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get this glued. Awesome. Sweet. Not making contact or what? I need to use some fasteners somehow. Okay. So this was actually the piece that I was referring to at the beginning of the video where it was stressing me out when I got to the hollowing out stage because it's too tight. Because I didn't have anything supporting it. It was just super loose and I just had to be very careful when I was putting it together or when I was hollowing it out. This, granted there's a little bit of wiggle because this thing isn't locked in. Making that to where it touches, snug that down. That one drops down, snug it up. Just that one. Okay, hold some pressure down here. There we go. Those things turn exactly how I wanted them to. Now I'm not going to turn the lathe on. One, this isn't secure. I'd be nervous about just holding it here. And two, this is a finished piece. It's actually it's ready to ship out to the individual that I made it for. So I don't want to take any chances of messing anything up on it. But this thing finished out exactly how I needed it to. Everything, I've got 3 points of contact on this piece. Everything is rolling smooth. I might need to adjust some hardware just a little bit to give a little bit more clearance, a little bit more support. But it is doing exactly what I needed it to. And that's provide support so that way this thing won't wiggle and wobble around, which is fantastic. So that's awesome. Yeah, let me know what you think down in the comment section. I'd like to know what you like about the video or the concept, what you don't like about it. Always looking to improve the quality of the videos, quality of the work that I do. So just let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you do like the video, or even if it was so-so, if you would please consider smacking that like button. It helps the channel out greatly and costs you nothing. So if you would, that would be fantastic. If this is the type of content that you enjoy watching, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell icon, turn on those notifications so that way whenever I do upload a video, you're the first to know about it. Other than that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next time.